Have you ever finished something you worked relentlessly on? A massive project, a brutal shift, a long week, and felt completely empty inside? Not relief, not pride, just a kind of blankness, as if all your effort vanished into a void and never came back to you. You aren't just tired, you're experiencing an invisible loss that modern work quietly hides from you. In 1844, a 26-year-old philosopher in Paris sat down to diagnose this exact feeling. His name was Karl Marx. Almost nobody read his words back then, but he was watching Europe's factories explode and noticing that as workers produced more wealth than ever, they felt increasingly hollow. So he asked a simple question. If we're creating more than ever, why does it feel like something's being taken from us? His answer was a four-part theory, and part 3 explains exactly why modern work leaves people feeling detached from their own lives. Marx called this alienation, the feeling of becoming a stranger to something that should naturally belong to you. He wrote, "The worker becomes all the poorer the more wealth he produces. The devaluation of the world of men is in direct proportion to the increasing value of the world of things." Here's how that structural trap breaks down into 4 parts. First, you don't own what you make. The second, your shift ends, the code is pushed, or the product ships. It becomes someone else's property. It leaves your hands, turns into profit for a company, and never comes back to you. Second, the work itself stops being yours. Because you don't control the process, labor stops being an act of creation and becomes a chore you perform purely to survive. Marx argued work stops feeling like living and starts feeling like punishment. Third, you disconnect from your own human essence. Marx believed shaping the world with your own ideas is part of what makes us human. Lose control of your work, and you lose touch with that part of yourself, leaving that familiar hollow feeling by the end of the day. Fourth, it breaks your relationship with other people. The person who owns your labor starts to feel less like a partner and more like an obstacle standing between you and what you created. Everyone becomes a competitor or a supervisor rather than a collaborator. Now, here's where people usually get Marx wrong. They hear alienation and assume he meant work itself is evil, or that wanting a career is naive. That's not it. Marx wasn't saying effort is bad. He was criticizing a system where the people doing the work don't control it, own it, or benefit from it. It's not a comment on your work ethic. It's a comment on the structure your effort happens inside. Look at today. A software designer builds a product used by millions and gets zero equity in it. A delivery worker keeps a city moving and never sees the impact, just moves to the next ping on an app. Even creators pour dozens of hours into a video, only for an algorithm to decide who sees it and how much of a cent comes back to them. The tools changed. The structure didn't. Marx wasn't describing laziness or ingratitude. He was pointing at a structural pattern baked into modern work. That drained, checked-out feeling, what we'd now call burnout, isn't a personal failure. It's a predictable reaction to a system built to separate you from what you create. Whether you agree with his conclusions or not, the question he asked is still worth sitting with. When you spend your life making things, who do they actually belong to? But work is only one piece of the puzzle. Marx had a lot more to say about how the world we've built shapes the way we think and live, and we'll keep digging into it, one idea at a time.